is there an ET threat? And should humans be afraid?
I'm going to say no and underline it and put it in bold. There is a lot of fear surrounding this subject. I think we've got a fear-based media. We're taught to fear. And yeah, I mean, this can be a scary experience for people. But having researched this field for, it's 35 years now. It's a long time I've been in this field. I don't think they're a threat. I don't think there's any compelling evidence to say that they're a threat. I know people do have what they perceive to be negative encounters. And as I said, it can be scary if you suddenly wake up and there are grays in your room and they're saying, come with us. And next thing you know, you find yourself laid out on a table, undressed and being physically examined. I can see how this would be traumatic. And what I will tell you is that is probably where the trauma lies and why some people come away from this experience feeling like this was negative for me. But if you step back, try not to fear, look at this from an objective angle, you will see that this perception, I think, is not accurate, because what actually happens when someone is taken on board, yes, they're physically examined. Often, this involves healing. This is the subject of one of my books. I've documented more than 300 cases. These come from all major investigators, whether it's Bud Hopkins, John Mack, David Jacobs, Barbara Lamb, Dolores Cannon, Yvonne Smith, Edith Fiore. I mean, they all have healing cases, and they're not getting a lot of attention. This is when my first clue, like, maybe this is not a negative experience as is being portrayed in the media. And when someone doesn't have a strong fear reaction, they're not rendered unable to move. Their memories are not suppressed. They are given freedom of movement and allowed to tour the craft. This is not unusual. They're taken to the engine room. They're taken to the control room and taught how to fly the craft. They are given warnings of all kinds, like, why are you polluting your planet? Do you realize that you have environmental issues coming up that are going to cause you all kinds of problems? Why are you messing around with nuclear power? There's a very, very prominent spiritual aspect to most UFO encounters. People are being taught all kinds of spiritual wisdom. They come away from their encounters learning how to do healing, hands-on healing, Reiki. They come away from their encounters profoundly psychically awakened. If you look at all of this, you will see that, no, this is not a threat. This is not bad news for us. ETs, I'm going on about this because this is important. ETs have been around for millennia, longer than we have. Do you really think they're here to take over? No, they're not here to eat us for lunch. They are not trying to scare people. I have no accounts of what I would call sadism or torture. The first words out of ET's minds is, don't be afraid. Have no fear. We're not here to hurt you. Their agenda is not to hurt us. In my latest book, Wondrous, I have accounts of this where one of my favorite chapters, the last one, the lady asked flat out, she had a long conversation with a gray who introduced himself as Sen. They had a long conversation. And she asked him flat out, are you here to take over our planet? And he said, no, we have no interest in your planet. It's far too crowded. You guys are way too emotional. There's plenty of planets out there for us. So sorry to go on about this, but this is something that just, concerns me. No, ETs are not a threat. They are good news for humanity.
No, I want you to talk about it because it's on my mind. It's on everybody's mind. And I don't want to get too much into current politics, but it seems that we're finding out very quickly a lot of what we're being taught is supposed to be for our own good, and it's not. And it's not truthful. And so if I take a look at all the other different things that we're being taught by experts as being not good for us or what's supposed to be good for us, I don't know if the governments are claiming there's an ET threat. I don't believe it, but also I don't have the experience that would support them as being a threat. I've had some sort of unusual contact experiences myself. I'm actually am working on my book. It's just taken a long time. But my point is that I would agree with you 100%, Preston. I have seen no evidence of there being a threat. Plus, if they're that technologically advanced and they've been around for thousands of years, maybe longer, they could have taken us out a long time ago, and they haven't. And I think
it would have been easier a long time ago too. Why would they wait until it starts to get difficult? They are a threat to the government power structure.
Yeah, I was going to say they're a threat to the money, because now that they've first engineered and found some technologies they're playing around with, like children that don't know what they're doing, and it's all about that. I agree. So I'm really glad that we got to talk about that right off the top, because some of the experiences from your book, people could take them as being a bit scary. Like, for instance, in your book, you talk about an experience from a young couple that were expecting their first child. And then they discovered that extraterrestrials have taken their baby. Can you tell us more about that? And is that something that was a fearful experience?
Yeah, this is a very interesting case, and certainly not unique. There are some unique aspects to this one, which is why I wanted to include it, because this does happen. There is a agenda on the part of the Greys, in particular, to revitalize their genetics, which have been damaged. They have had a lot of trouble reproducing in the past, and are working with humans, taking genetic material to revitalize their genetics. And often this will involve women who carry a pregnancy to a certain extent, and then they will take the baby.